Alrighty, so just going over these problems for the quarterly exam. There is a blank copy that I provided on Schoology along with the solutions here, so work through the problems as well, and then watch the video, see if you got them right or wrong. So number one here, you got to do distributive property first. We get 12 minus 18x plus 8x equals 32. Your like terms here are the minus 18x and the plus 8x. So negative 10x plus 12 equals 32. Then you'll get negative 10x equals 20. So that means x is going to equal negative 2 for a final answer there. So a less than 20 for number 2. We got to write an expression for this. So it's a less than 20, so you're taking the a away from the 20. So it's got to be 20 minus a there. Next up, you got to solve the equation here. I'm going to do the method where we eliminate the denominators. So we have 3, 6, and 2. The LCM of those is 6. So I'm going to multiply each fraction here by 6. So that's going to give me 4 equals 5x minus 15. So you get 19 equals 5x. So that means x is going to equal 19 fifths, or 3 4 fifths. Next up, make sure you do some distributive property here. 3x minus 15 equals 4x plus 20. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So negative 15 equals x plus 20. Subtract 20 from both sides. I'm going to get x equals negative 35 for number 4 there. Number 5, a number decreased by 10 is the same as 8 minus 2 times a number. So a number decreased by 10, that's just going to be x. Okay, so x minus 10, a number decreased by 10 is the same as 8 minus 2 times a number. So 2 times a number is 2x. Take away 8 from that. So there's our equation we got to solve then. That's going to be negative 2 is equal to x. So it says Mike can spend up to $30 for gasoline and a car wash at a service station. The car wash will cost $5 and the gas is $3.50 per gallon. Use the inequality below to find out how many gallons of gas Mike can purchase. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So it comes out to be x is less than or equal to, we're just going to round this, 7.14. You can leave that because it says how many gallons of gas Mike can purchase. You could go to the gas station if you really wanted to get picky enough and purchase 7.14 gallons. You don't have to buy a whole number of gallons of gas. All right, so we have negative 1/4 x minus 8 is greater than negative 4. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. To solve, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 4. Got to flip my inequality. X is less than negative 16. All right, next up we got some like terms on the right here on this equation. So it's going to give me 14x plus 11. I'm going to subtract 12x then from both sides. So x is going to equal negative 20 divided by 2, or just negative 10. All right, so justify each step in solving this equation with the algebraic properties. All right, so here we just rearranged. This will be on your formula sheet. So we just switch the order, so that's a commutative property. Next up, we subtracted 5 from both sides. Or down here we did commutative property. So again, let's just leave this as commutative property. Subtraction property. And then division property. All right. So next up then, not doing anything with the negative 7. We're going to distribute the 2 here. So plus 6 minus 2x equals 9. Negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1. Add 1 to both sides. So negative 2x equals 10. So x equals negative 5. All right, next up, we got to solve for a, and a times b minus 7 equals c. So this is kind of like those when we're solving for a variable with like 2x plus 4y equals 8, stuff like that. So the first thing we want to do is add 7 to both sides. I want to put 0 there. I just want to put 0 there to show you you're not going to add it to the c. So then if ab equals c plus 7, since I'm going to solve for a, I'm going to divide both sides by b. So those cancel out. You're left with a equals c plus 7 divided by b. Absolute value equation equals a negative. Cannot equal a negative. There's no solution to this. This one, though, it equals a positive number, so we can have 4x plus 12 equals 8, and 4x plus 12 equals negative 8. So we can have 4x equals negative 4, so x equals negative 1. And 4x subtract 12, we're going to get negative 20 over here, and x equals negative 5. All right, so next up, Bob has a job that pays him $7 per hour plus tips. Bob worked 5 hours and made a total of $80. Write and solve an equation for the amount of tips that Bob earned. So he worked 5 hours, so you do 7 times 5 plus his tips for a total of 80. So it's 35 plus t equals 80. So that means t is going to equal $45 in tips. All right, so Jim always leaves a tip between 7% and 20% for the server when he pays for dinner. This can be represented by the system inequality shown below. If the cost of the dinner is $30, what is the maximum and minimum tips? Okay, so 7%. So if we do 30 times 0.07, so minimum tip would be $2.10. And the maximum tip would be 30 times 0.6, that'd be or $20, sorry. 2% or 20%. $6 would be his maximum tip. All right, so solve the following proportion, cross multiply. I'm going to subtract 12x from 8x there, so it's going to be negative 4x. So x is going to equal negative 18 divided by negative 4. So that's going to reduce down to positive 9/2 or 4.5. It's going to be multiple choice questions, so you would either see one of these. You definitely wouldn't see negative 18 or negative 4. You got to reduce that. So make sure you get something like that. All right, so Kyle's 6.5 feet tall and casts a shadow that is 3.5 feet long. At the same time, a tree casts a shadow 8 feet long, right? And solve a proportion. So our first proportion is going to be Kyle. We have his height, and we have the shadow. So Kyle's 6.5 feet tall, so I'm just going to go 6.5 to make this easier. His shadow is 3.5 feet. The tree, we should know that shadow is 8 feet long. So that's a proportion we got to solve. So we're going to get 3.5x equals 52. So that means x equals 14.9 feet. Let's just round it there. Again, I did 6.5 times 8 there to get the 52. So we've got to declare a variable here. So Denver, all right, it's a Mile High City, Mile High Stadium. Well, now it's got some name, Mile High Stadium, but it's October here, and they already had snow yesterday there. But anyway, it's above 5,280 feet. All right, so probably the lowest points are right out there. So I'm going to put the equal to. All right, so we got to solve this inequality. So we got 12 minus x on the left there. Right here, you have 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Make this easier on yourself and just make that a 16 right away. You can do distributive property too. You'd have 28 minus 12 is 16. So subtract 12 from both sides. I got negative x is greater than 4. So that means x is less than negative 4. All right. So again, absolute value equations, you got to do equals 16 and equals negative 16. We end up with x equals 2 and x equals 6. But again, two solutions there. Break it into two cases. It does equal positive, so we're good to go. So for 20, it says, which equation does not have negative 4 as a solution? So if you want, you can just put negative 4 into both sides here and make sure it works. So like for A, for instance, you can go 5 times negative 4. Plus 6 equals 4 times negative 4 plus 2. This would be negative 20 plus 6 is negative 14 equals negative 16 plus 2 is negative 14. So that's good. It works out in A. For B, we have 12 minus negative 4 equals negative 2 times negative 4 plus 8. So that's going to be 16 because you're subtracting a negative. Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. 8 and 8 is 16. So that works. Let's go to C. 5 times negative 4 plus 7 equals 4 times negative 4 plus 8. So it'd be negative 20 plus 7 equals negative 16 plus 8. So it's going to be negative 13 equals negative 8. So that doesn't work. If you want to make sure D works, just make sure there's not two correct answers here. So it'd be negative 36 minus 3 equals negative 20 minus 19. So negative 39 equals negative 39. So that one's good. All right, so the answer is definitely C. Again, we came out with negative 13 equals negative 8 there when I substituted negative 4. So it doesn't work. All right, so for this open-ended one here, this is just really a calculator problem. Going back to the beginning here when we were dealing with real numbers. So you want to list these numbers from greatest to least. We want to use these exact numbers when we're listing them. So I would get all these in decimal form. So if you have one of these calculators, you want to go into mode and then classic. So that classic will always give you decimals. Math print just simplifies your square roots. So first up, I have 8 times the square root of 5. Go to 17.89. Let's just round it. Next up, I got 4.5 squared. So it's 20.25. For the square root of 85, again, I'm just going to go second, x squared, 85. Should get 9.2. 5.6 can just stay as is. Then last up, 48 divided by 9. You want to get this as a decimal. It's 5.3. So we want to go greatest to least. So my largest number there is the 4.5 squared. Then we got the 17, so 8 root 5. And then we got the 9.2, so it's a square root of 85. Then we go 5.6, and then the 48 divided by 9. So kind of just a calculator problem there, getting decimals and comparing them. Explain how you find your answer in part A. So I got each term into decimal form. All right, so we get down here. Suppose that x is a negative real number. List these expressions in order from greatest to least. So make this easy on yourself. Just let x equal negative 1. So if x were negative 1, all my expressions are the same as before. You just have the x there. So this is now negative 17.89. This is now negative 20.25. This is now negative 9.2. This is now negative 5.6. This one's now negative 5.3. So the greatest number here now, you're just flipping the order from before. Okay? So negative 5.3 is my greatest number. So it's 48x divided by 9. Then the 5.6x. Then the x root 85. Then the 8x root 5. And then finally the x times 4.5 squared. And how do we do that? Let's just say we let x equal negative 1 and evaluated and compared each expression. All right, so if you have any questions about the quarterly, please email me. But other than that, make sure you go over this review 2 or 3 times before you take the exam. Have a good day.